This Late Night Linux Family podcast is made possible by our patrons. Go to latenightlinux.com/support for details of how you can join them. Support us on Patreon for access to ad-free episodes and early releases. That's latenightlinux.com/support. Hello and welcome to episode 382 of Late Night Linux, recorded on the 20th of April 2026. I'm Joe, and with me are Phelim.
Evening.
Graham.
Bonsoir.
And Will.
Hello.
420 represent. Anyway, France's digital agency dumping Windows desktops for Linux. This is a win, but it's a slightly smaller win than some people initially thought. Some of the initial reporting was all of France's government is switching to Linux, but no, it's just the digital agency, which is ever so slightly smaller than the whole government.
Yes, but it's a start, and with them using their own chat servers based on Matrix and the like, I think France can always be obnoxiously belligerent to sort of do their own thing, so I think that's all good.
What, like forcing half of Eurovision to be in their language, for example?
Yes, that was definitely the thing I was going for. It's more like, let's invent our own fighter planes, radars, God knows what. Internet, let alone. They had that, what was it? Microtel, Minitel, whatever the hell it was. They do like to do their own thing.
This is great news. Even though it's only like 500 people probably, it's still a good start. And the digital agency as well, that's a great place to kind of dogfood it.
Yeah, I hope this bodes well for the future. You have to assume that if the technical part or a small technical part of the government is using it and can make it work, and they've probably got the best chance of making it work, then if it's judged a success, then hopefully it will roll out to other people. And by the time it gets there, they will have hopefully sorted out things like the various software that they're using, the desktop environment, the design and layout and, ease of use that people expect. And all of the standard apps that they're using will be worked out and made to work. And it's got to be a good thing. And
with any luck, the documentation and training required to make the switch.
Yeah.
I just wish we saw more stories like this, especially under the circumstances. Europe's in such a strong position to really push this kind of thing forward. And I don't know, digital autonomy should be a thing that we really capitalise on in free software and Linux and open source. And I don't know what we need to do because there's not enough stories like this. We should be having more.
The article talks about a bunch of software that is European homegrown, things like SAP, MariaDB, Nokia, Ericsson. All of these are like high-tech companies with products that are used all over the globe, but which are headquartered, at least on paper, within Europe. And that's a good selection of hardware and software providers that should be able to meet the needs of pretty much any European country which has to run exclusively on European software and European hardware.
But I don't really mean that the software has to have a European origin, just that we have complete control over its deployment so that we can do whatever we want with it, or the rules can't be changed.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen with Microsoft pulling access to people who the American government deems undesirable. Whereas if you've got proper open source software that's all self-hosted and everything, then no one can do that rug pull on you. Mm. And that's why open source is so important to this push for European sovereignty. Because even if you are relying on a European company, it doesn't really mean much if they've still got the power to be influenced. Whereas if it is truly open source, open standards, there is no one in charge except for the people deploying it.
Yeah, I just wish it came under a different heading than sovereignty, because that is just a dirty word these days. So,
well, that's why I said autonomy.
That is a better word. Yeah, let's use that.
I know that sovereignty has been somewhat hijacked by the wankers, but European sovereignty, digital sovereignty, that is very much the buzzword in Europe as far as I can see. So I don't think that pretending otherwise is helpful.
I still don't have to like it.
Yeah. I think the problem I have with sovereignty is there's a whiff of imperialism about it, which I don't think this should be about.
Are you one of those open borders leftists?
I know.
Is that your problem?
It is my problem. Yeah, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. It's like fleas arguing over who owns the dog that they're on.
Never heard that fucking phrase.
All right, well, speaking of Europe, Brussels launched an age-checking app. Hackers say it took 2 minutes to break it.
Oops.
So this is supposed to just be a preview, and it's open source on GitHub. But obviously we would prefer not to have this age-checking bullshit. But if they're going to do it, then open source is better, maybe. I don't know. What do we think?
I think open source is absolutely better. It should be the way it should be done. But it doesn't mean that you just get magic happening and it's instantly written well and thought out properly. So this clearly wasn't or was rushed, and that's just a bad idea all round. I don't think the openness of it really bears much. I mean, at least we were able to look at it properly and do a proper analysis of it. If it was a closed source app, it would have had the same issues, but we wouldn't know until maybe a bit later when they'd already rolled it well out proper.
Yeah.
We used to think that there was a certain amount of technical ignorance in government institutions and things like that, which we really can't say anymore. But I don't understand why decisions like we were talking about digital sovereignty and also software implementation like this often go so poorly, both at a strategic level and in the code level. Do they not have the skills, or is it the leadership, or are we just completely naive and thinking that they should be just doing the right thing? I don't know. It's an open question because nothing has really changed, it seems to me, either in decent political strategy on software and technology, nor in the implementation, with a few examples that are contrary to that.
You know how being good at getting elected doesn't necessarily mean that you're good at governing. See the far right in the UK. Similarly, being good at lobbying to get government contracts doesn't necessarily mean that you're good at delivering good quality software. Maybe it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I think the problem is the tender process is so complicated. To bid for a government contract, you have to be massive with a load of requirements generally. You end up with the likes of KPMG, Deloitte, all these other massive companies who are just behemoths to do anything with. Everything is a massive process, involves 30 different architects, and all those projects go crazily out of control. It's not like there should be it's a team of 5, you guys are in charge of it, off you go do it, and then set them aside for 6 months and then to get a decent product out, because small teams work better. It's just, everybody does that who succeeds. Like the likes of, dare I say it, Apple would have all that whole small team thing. Everything is a small team on purpose.
Well, the fact that the tender was 4 million euros for this app, and then it was still terrible, should say, 4 million euros.
I could do you an animated GIF that flicks between yes or no. Are you old enough? Yes, no. And you just click it, it's done.
I mean, look, an app like this, you would expect to take a few months to design and build, right? With a few developers and some designers and everything. Like, maybe 1 million at most, not fucking 4 million. Ridiculous.
I mean, it is an open source project. Maybe we should try and get some of them to talk to us. You never know. Maybe they would. It would be genuine. I mean, like, they might have said, yeah, we are a small team, but it was an absolute nightmare to deal with 25 different bodies that all had different requirements for the age verification of their database locally, whatever. So,
Maybe.
It's probably a horrible task for anybody.
Well, probably 27 sets of requirements.
Jesus Christ, I took a guess at 25. I didn't know what the actual number was.
Well, you didn't know that there's 27 members in your European Union that we chose to leave.
So many new people, some old that left, losers. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Just because you're happy that it's 27 and I don't care because I live in the land of gold.
Well, I just remember it always being us versus the 27 in the negotiations.
Yeah, it worked out real well for you.
It's working out fucking great, yeah. Loads of Brexit benefits. I did see someone saying, we should not contribute to this. We should protest and let it be full of holes. But that's just not going to happen, is it? You cannot put open source code out there for something important and have people read through it and not spot the glaring errors and smugly point them out.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be a requirement for people anyway. Well, it's going to be a requirement for me, not you three, me. But yeah, if you're going to get something mandated, it should at least be bloody secure, I suppose.
Yeah, and at least with it being open source, in theory, even if it's not put in the likes of F-Droid or they don't give you an APK, you should, in theory, be able to build it yourself.
Yeah.
So you're not locked into Apple and Google.
Though I imagine there's probably some sort of server-side signing of it needs to happen, and God knows, yeah, probably not going to work on my phone anyway.
Oh, well, maybe you just have to get a proper operating system on that Pixel of yours. Have you even flashed it yet?
No, I haven't flashed it. I haven't had time. Stop annoying me. It's irritating. It sits at my desk irritating me all day, every day. When I look at it and go, I need to do that.
Look, factory reset it, set it up with all the Google account and everything, and never look back.
No. It's not happening.
Okay.
It's going to be that French one, or it's going to be probably the hardened one, I think. But yeah, we'll see.
I'll put Postmarket OS on it. It'll be great.
Maybe.
I don't even know if it's supported. Microsoft locks out VeraCrypt and WireGuard devs, blames verification process. Now, we will talk about this on 2.5 Admins later this week, which is already recorded. So we don't need to spend too long on it. But Phelim, you wanted to point out that Microsoft are shit.
Yeah. Not only are they shit, not only are they possibly leading to your company's own security issues. If there was a sort of a update required for WireGuard in the time, that'd be a massive issue. But when you try and get in touch with them through their own process, there's no feedback. You can't talk to anybody ever. A company that has that much money and has no way to deal with critical pieces of software like this, it's just not acceptable. They should be fined out of their arsehole with this thing. It's ridiculous. There are companies out there that depend on this for human rights groups, whatever. And if you don't have the ability to get in contact, with a secure VPN, we're going to use OpenVPN or IPsec? No, we're not. It's ridiculous.
Well, it's only disk encryption and, VPN.
Yeah.
It's not important stuff.
No, you're right. I don't know why I'm getting so annoyed, but okay.
Yeah, but it looks like this is resolved now, at least for the two projects in question. But it's all about this verification process thing that Microsoft claims to have told everyone about, but then seemingly a lot of devs didn't get the message, and now they're locked out of their accounts, and it's all just a fucking fiasco. But Microsoft have got an appeals process and ways to get back in and everything. So in theory, this should be all right, but it just shows that Microsoft is shit, like I said.
Contact the Copilot support agent. Cool. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, great idea.
It feels like we report on stories like this every, 6 months or something, where a robot has decided that no, and then you have to start jumping through hoops to try and contact people. And more often than not, it feels like it is only resolved because someone who knows someone who works there. Otherwise, you're basically shit out of luck. And I don't really understand where this process is going to end. Will it always be this way? Will it be worse? Will it actually eventually evolve to the point where you can speak to human beings and the community support team or the developer community team actually has people who respond to messages and can talk to you, on a phone call or a video call? Or is it just going to be, that's it, you've lost your account and give up?
Well, according to the laws of physics and entropy, I suspect that it's going to be getting worse and worse and worse. Yet another exciting update on the thrilling story of Office Suite politics and drama.
Where did I put my popcorn?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to talking about this again. So we've now heard from the FSF and Software Freedom Conservancy, and both of them have said that OnlyOffice are just not in the right. So as a quick reminder, OnlyOffice was forked as EuroOffice, and OnlyOffice was AGPL 3, and so is EuroOffice. But OnlyOffice had added some extra conditions, restrictions, which were actually contradictory. They said, if you fork it, then you have to keep our branding, but you're not allowed to use our branding. So it was just bullshit. They basically cancel each other out. And the great legal minds at the FSF and Conservancy have said that EuroOffice is fine, all good. Probably is going to go to some sort of court case or settled out of court or whatever, but I think that is fairly definitive to me.
I think we all agree, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm a lawyer now because that's what I thought, and it turned out to be the case. So, looks like I'll be setting out to my stall after the back of ambulances a bit more.
Well, I was reserving judgment because I'm very much not a lawyer, so I wanted to see what the experts had to say about it. As usual, the lawyers took way longer than they should have to do anything, but now they have come out and pronounced on it. I think it's fairly clear to me.
Yeah, and I mean, at least the AGPL does exactly what everybody who thought they knew what the AGPL did, and that's the case where the other guys are just being awful about it. Like, those types of sort of conflicting license terms are just, well, shower of bastards, I think is the term I would use, and we have used before.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
What? You have to keep my branding, but you can't use my branding. It's like, aha, only I can deliver the software. It's ridiculous.
I do have some sympathy. It seems like companies choose a license without really understanding the license or the culture. And I don't like saying that, but really the intention behind some of these licenses and what's led to them being the way that they are. You choose it because you want to be all in on open source, almost as a branding exercise, and then feel caught out when the terms of the license they feel are used against them. It's a kind of a naivety. So I do feel a bit, I understand their frustration, but you should, like we said last time, you should go into these things with your eyes wide open. This will happen, especially if you're successful.
Yeah, but it seems like they want to be, we want an open source project, but we're the only ones allowed to have it.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't seem like they understand what they're doing. Or they were sold something by somebody who is a con man.
Yeah, I guess they weren't expecting somebody like Nextcloud to come along and, potentially do a better job with their software than they've been doing.
Being open keeps you honest.
Yeah, I agree.
Not everybody wants to be kept honest.
I've tested only Office, but, as Joe said, these are Office suites. There's only so much enthusiasm, unless there's a license infringement or it's something to do with the Document Foundation.
What we should do is a whole episode reviewing different Office suites and going into the minutiae of like how they're different from each other.
Oh, cool. Can we do a whole lot of pivot tables, which I still don't know what they are?
The accuracy of the word count. Come on.
Oh.
I still don't fully understand what a macro is, and I don't think I'm ever going to find out.
It's a car crash waiting for your company later on when you've left.
Right. I'm just amazed when people can do spreadsheets where like you change a few numbers in one place and they automatically change somewhere else. It just blows my mind, man.
Why does it keep putting a quote mark at the start of the thing that I've put in the cell? Why does it do that?
Why does some numbers go on the right-hand side of the cell and some on the left?
Why is it suddenly a different font?
Yeah, exactly.
Why did it do that? What is the magical invisible thing that is selecting the thing that I can't change, that I have to delete the entire page with enter? Like I have to go enter all the way down the page and then select the invisible nothing so I can change the fixed width. Why does it do that?
And why is it when I've summed a bunch of numbers, I can't just copy that cell to get the number? It copies the formula. I'm sure there's some like combination of keys instead of just Control C, but I use Office suites like once a year to do taxes and then forget fucking everything and then have to relearn it again 12 months later.
The stress that just brought up. Oh.
Well, I've got the stress of actually paying my taxes next, so that'll be great fun. All right, let's talk about Anthropic's Mythos, or is it Mythos? This is their new model that is so powerful that they can't release it to the public, and we're going to have to give private access to big companies and stuff. And so we've got this Project Glasswing, securing critical software for the AI era. Now, the claims are that this can find bugs in software and security holes better than anything ever in the world. And it's so dangerous because put it in the hands of hackers and they're going to hack everything. And they've already found problems in all the major operating systems and everything.
Well, that was true up until 2 days ago when I have my own project, which has its own super duper AI, but I'm not releasing that to anybody because it's even more dangerous than that.
Well, mine is even more dangerous than yours, Phelim.
Is it though?
Yeah. You got to believe me because I said so. I literally said so. So that makes it true.
Well, I, for one, am convinced. Oh, well, that's the end of me then.
Yeah. My missus sent me an article. I think it was a Guardian article that I've got in the show notes, but she sent me some article and it's like, oh, should I be worried about this? I said, no, you should not. This is just breathless parroting of Anthropic's bullshit. And, what are the odds that the NSA would start using this, despite the fact that the Trump government called them a bunch of woke whatevers and said that that's it, we can't use their software anymore, their AI bullshit. And now suddenly they're back in with the government. I wonder if it could be about that. Anyway, are me and Phelan being ridiculously cynical here, or should we all be terrified? Should we not sleep tonight because of how scary this is?
You linked to a post by Bruce Schneier, and I think I agree with him. I think Anthropic has got a really great PR and marketing team, and that's by and large what this is. I think that's a different thing to whether we should be worrying about 0 days occurring all the time, and that I think is a different thing. And I think the reality is probably, having been involved in like the console cracking scene, there's always a way of getting into everything. And it's just a matter of time before those vulnerabilities are exposed. So that's the kind of default way, I think, anyway.
I think that they will come out in another, month's time with whatever the solution to Mythos's problems is, and they'll sell you that at a slightly higher cost.
Yep, exactly. It does sound like this might be slightly better than the tools that we already have for fuzzing and other ways to find bugs. And it sounds like it can kind of string vulnerabilities together and chain them together in perhaps a way that wasn't that possible before. But I don't think that all software is just now completely fucked because of this. It means that, probably a few more vulnerabilities will be found and will need to be patched, but there'll also be a shitload of false positives, as ever with this shit.
And I think open source is the only way still, and this will should make open source even stronger, because the alternative is really not having a clue about what the binary blob's doing.
I think we'll see an interesting reaction from the likes of Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft, because if this is able to punch software holes through their various anti-piracy layers, they're going to do something pretty quickly, I would imagine. So I think that that's where we will see the first reactions. When it starts affecting the bottom line, that's when people will start caring.
I mean, could it be that this is something of a wake-up call in that we should spend a bit more time writing software, slow down a little bit, make sure that we minimize these bugs? Or are you just telling me that's not possible? Software is too complicated and these vulnerabilities will be in there because of just fallibility of the developers?
Well, they're going to be in there if they've used AI to write the software, really. So, sorry, couldn't help it.
It's not going to be any different, right? The people have been writing software for the last 60, 70 years, and there have always been bugs. There will always be bugs. No amount of process or teaching or new languages or whatever has made any difference. There have always been these kinds of bugs, and I don't think that they're going to go away anytime soon.
But could you have fewer bugs if you spent more time on the development, on the thinking through how it works, on the actual writing of the code, on the testing and everything?
It just doesn't work that way. Products have to ship. There has to be a point at which you say that that's all the testing that's happening now, the end. You have to do that. And so trade-offs are made. If you waited for perfection, it would never come.
Yeah, I'm not saying perfection, but I'm saying like fewer showstoppers, really serious stuff. Could that be caught if a bit more time was spent?
Pragmatically, no, I don't think so.
Right.
I'll be happy to be proved wrong on that. And I'm sure people will argue that if only you spent another week on it, then you would have found that one bug. But I just don't believe that that is the case.
I can't tell what another week of me looking at YouTube Shorts is going to do to the code, though.
I think that all hype aside, this will just be yet another tool to find vulnerabilities and bugs.
Well, I'll tell you what would be quite nice would be if journalists would actually pick apart these stories properly and not just believe the absolute shovelfuls of shite that these companies put out and then just spoon feed them back out to us. It'd be nice if they actually critically analyze some of these things.
That is an interesting topic in its own right, I think. The longer I have spent on this planet, the more I have become aware that things you read, either in newspapers or on the internet, the people writing them are not necessarily the ones who are best qualified to comment on it. And more often than not, this is just like one of any other number of stories that they're working on. And it doesn't really matter. The facts get in the way of a good story. Just put it out there. It doesn't matter. Just sell clicks. And in fact, I think it's got worse as internet advertising has sort of become the sole mechanism by which a lot of news websites generate their money. So I don't think that people writing these articles have any interest or knowledge about them. Now, Schneier is the exception to the rule here. There are plenty of people writing very informed blog posts about this, but the general public are not going to read those blog posts. They're going to see whatever's written in the tabloids and believe that. And I don't believe that those people know anything at all.
Yeah, news sites can't really be trusted, but podcasts definitely 100% trust us.
Yeah, we all definitely know what we're talking about.
We are experts.
Yeah, at all times. Well, I'll put a load of links about this in the show notes, so if you're curious, do have a look through. There's an interesting post from Dave Chisnell on Mastodon, which I think is well worth a read, for example. Let's do a quick KDE Korner then. KDE at 30. So this year, KDE is going to be 30 years old, and there's going to be various celebrations.
That is disturbing. Did you use it right from the very start, Graham?
No, I didn't. I used KDE 1 briefly, and then KDE 2 is where I spent a lot of time.
So what, more late 90s rather than mid-90s?
Yeah, it was late 90s. In fact, I used Linux without X in like 1996, 97, and it wasn't until I got a PC in like 98, 99 that could work with Linux after some time trying to get my graphics card to work, whatever it was, S3 Verge, and then quickly moved to KDE. But it quickly became KDE 2, which is the first release of K-Album was KDE 2 and then the KDE 3 migration.
And when's the next release of K-Album, Graham?
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
You should have had it ready for this.
25 years of development.
Any day now. All right, and tighter KDE Connect integration.
Yeah, to try and work a bit better with Android phones and stuff, they had a framework that they're now replacing. And yeah, it looks good. It's absolutely excellent utility. I love it. It is so handy. And it's the only way I've reliably got files to transfer back and forth between my phone and my PC. Nothing else seems to work very well. So this is to improve that. And I'm all for that.
Sounds good. All right, and KDE Gear 2604 then.
Latest release of a load of software. Check them out. Some good stuff in there again, like usual. And yeah, happy days.
Right, well, I'll put links in the show notes. Right, well, we better get out of here then. We'll be back next week when who knows what it'll be. But until then, I've been Joe.
I've been Phelan.
I've been Graham.
And I've been Will.
See you later.